Hello everybody. Let's wait a little bit as people join. So our challenge is continuing until end of this month. Our weight loss for summer challenge, summer body challenge, okay? So this week and next week are calorie restriction in our challenge. So for ladies it's 1,300 calories, for gentlemen 1,900 calories. So you're again tracking your calories on the apps, okay, on the phone apps. And if you're thinking, oh, it's too tedious, I cannot do this calorie, it's just hard to estimate, if you think there is a lot of limitation, then another way for that is skipping the dinner. Okay, when you skip the dinner, you're automatically reducing 500 calories. So it is not exactly the same as the intermittent fasting we did. Okay, this time is time restriction. So it's not like you can eat anytime and just have 8-hour eating window. This one is time restricted, so you're skipping dinner. Otherwise, we can't get enough results. Okay, we have 2 weeks left, and we're going to do real calorie restriction. Okay, so I'm not the only one who would tell you that dinner is not the best food to eat. Breakfast is not the best meal to skip, right? So there is even saying that give your dinner to the poor, right? So there is this Brian Johnson. It's he's the investor, businessman, working with Harvard longevity experts, professors, and he's investing millions of dollars for this longevity study. And they are making him eat his last meal of the day at 11 a.m., right? So I'm not the only one who would tell you that. Okay, ladies 1,300, gentlemen 1,900. So I'm waiting for your amazing results. Good luck with that, okay? So, okay, let's start talking about 3 big diseases of menopause. Okay, when we women reach menopause, our body no longer produces the hormone estrogen, right? Everybody knows. When we are postmenopausal, our estrogen production is sharply declining, right? But our body still needs estrogen and the benefits of estrogen, okay? Like any hormone, the deficiency is like a disease. For example, when we don't have enough thyroid hormone, our thyroid gland does not produce enough thyroid hormone, what do? We take hormone from outside, right? To prevent diseases. Otherwise, you're gonna have mental disease and you're gonna die too. Okay, it affects every bodily function. Hormones are like that. When you don't have insulin, your pancreas doesn't produce enough insulin, what do? We take insulin from outside. Otherwise, we die, right? Estrogen is like that too. We don't die right away, maybe, but it ages you very fast, okay? And causes these deadly diseases, okay? It kills you slowly. Okay, so estrogen deficiency is no different than these other deficiency state, okay? We don't want to live in low thyroid state. We don't want to live in low insulin state. We don't want to live in low estrogen state. That's it, okay? It's no different. So we should not just think that this is part of natural aging, okay? We have to live in an estrogen deficiency state in the second part of our lives. No, okay? Mother Nature did not intend, okay, like this. So Mother Nature intended that. We didn't think that we would live after menopause, okay? So now we live longer. Advancement in science, medicine, prosperity, we live longer, okay? So in the nature, only us, human, woman, and whales, killer whale and pilot whale, only we have menopause. Other animals don't have menopause. They die before the age of menopause, okay? So ask this to yourself. Do you prefer living in an estrogen deficient state for the rest of your life, second part of your life, or do you want to do something about it, okay? So doctors are not gonna offer this to you. So you're going to do your own research and you're going to seek help yourself, okay? Unless you lose your part of your reproductive organs, maybe at that time they start the hormones. If you lost, uterus, you had the surgery in your 30s, 40s, they start. After 50s, they don't even start, okay? So that's your responsibility to search about this one. So with the estrogen deficiency, there is a long list of diseases and symptoms, okay? When we lose estrogen, because estrogen is the fountain of youth, we need estrogen from youth to death. Estrogen deficiency is like a disease, okay? The aging process starts when we start losing estrogen, okay? So what are those? Aging from inside and outside, okay? What are those? First, we start losing periods, right? Hot flashes. Hot flashes may even start before you lose your periods. You're just regular periods, but you have hot flashes all the way 7 to 10 years before actual menopause. You may start having these symptoms with, slow estrogen withdrawal. Night sweats, fatigue, forgetfulness, brain fog, insomnia, mood swings, irritability, joint pain and stiffness, dry skin, hair loss, vaginal dryness, urinary tract infections, frequent urinary tract infections. Nobody thinks it's because of menopause. Incontinence, okay? Or you have urgency, you sneeze, just like tightness goes away. So that's why you have all these urinary problems. These are problems related to estrogen deficiency state, short-term states. These mean your body's in shock, okay? You lost estrogen, your body's in, it's like thyroid storm. Then you have thyroid deficiency or problems with your thyroid, this and that, hormones, you have this, storm problem, right? It's like shock. So, but there are long-term diseases and problems, okay? We don't think it's related to menopause or estrogen deficiency. For example, hardening of arteries. Your arteries get stiff. Plaque buildup happens. You lose your bones. Loss of bone density and loss of brain density, okay? 3 deadly diseases that come with menopause: heart attack, osteoporosis, and Alzheimer's disease. Of course, there are some other reasons that would contribute to these too. For example, sedentary lifestyle, smoking, alcohol, diabetes, family history, okay, genetics, right? So those may contribute too. But why is it, more in the woman population? Is just estrogen deficiency, okay? So you don't know you have a bone loss until you break a bone. If you don't test it, there's a test for it. It's called DEXA scan, okay? Not everybody does it, but there's a test for it. So you don't know you have a plaque in your arteries, there's blockage, until you have a heart attack. There are tests for it, but not everybody does that. not everybody is proactive. So, but there is no test for Alzheimer's, right? It just depends on you being proactive or not. For example, brain fog, forgetfulness, okay? We don't do anything. We just think it's normal, okay? So for Alzheimer, there is no particular test. Okay, your brain is critically dependent on estrogen, okay? Every woman needs to know this, okay? Your brain starts deteriorating when you start losing estrogen. In your brain, there are estrogen receptors all over. So, those receptor sites, when they are not getting enough estrogen, they start shrinking. I talked about this last week. Dr. Lisa Mosconi's study, she showed postmenopausal women brain MRIs, thousands of women, brain MRIs, and 8 years later she checked again, and there's a big shrinkage. The brain size got small, okay? So it's because of estrogen loss, okay? So one of the first signs is forgetfulness. You start forgetting things. It's not normal, okay? Don't think it's normal. So why do we not see this in young people, okay? So it's aging, brain aging, okay? So all those Alzheimer cases, 2/3 of these cases are women, okay? 1/3 is man. So it means that women's risk of getting Alzheimer's disease is twice as much as man, okay? We get double the risk, okay? So heart attack, the most important thing to know about a postmenopausal woman, that is heart attack risk too, okay? So how many do you think the percentage of women dying of heart attack postmenopausal? 50%. Every 2 women, one of them will die because of postmenopausal reasons, okay? So every 2 women die because of heart attack. Every 1 in 2, okay? Half of us will die because of heart attack postmenopausal stage, okay? So as you see, like, this is more than all the cancers combined. You see how we're scared about cancer? This is like more than all the cancers combined, okay? So very important to know. As you see, menopause is not just hot flashes, okay? It's heart attack, Alzheimer's, osteoporosis. Nobody talks about these things. Doctors may start hormone treatment, as I said. If you surgically lost your reproductive organs, they might offer you in your 30s, 40s, but they're not gonna give you unless you go there for hot flashes. If you say, oh, these hot flashes are affecting my life, it's terrible, then they may start only for hot flashes, okay? So these are not acceptable, okay? We have to know about this. We have to be proactive about this, okay? So loss of estrogen leads to heart attack because of hardening arteries. Estrogen keeps arteries soft, nice, soft and elastic, okay? It responds to blood pumping nicely. It receives it well, okay? But when we don't have estrogen, what happens? Blood pressure problems start because it's just sort of stiff heart, right? And then plaque build up. With time, that plaques in your coronary arteries blocks the circulation. Your heart doesn't receive enough oxygen and blood flow, and there you have heart attack. Okay, so let's not focus only hot flashes. Okay, half of women are dying because of heart attack, because of estrogen loss. Okay, so now estrogen loss on spine, okay, osteoporosis, bone loss, direct consequence of estrogen loss. In the first 5 years postmenopausal, we're losing 2% of our bone density in a year. It means in the first 5 years, we already lose 10% of our bones. After those 5 years is 1% a year. You see how critical this first 5 years, okay? We should do something about this. Okay, so you don't wanna lose 1% of your bone rest of your life. So you won't have any bone left. And don't expect anything from those medications because they are deadly themselves too. A lot of side effects. Okay. Osteoporosis and Alzheimer's are very connected. The woman body shrinks, brain shrinks, bone, the spine shrink. Okay, this is shrinkage. Okay, it's devastating. It's like devastating, like thyroid. You don't have thyroid hormone, it's devastating. You don't have insulin, it's devastating. Yeah, you don't have insulin, you don't have estrogen, that's devastating too. Slow death. Okay, so not like every woman, you know, there are consequences of living without estrogen, you know. Yes, but not every woman can take hormones, right? Not every woman is candidate. So there are details to it. Next week we can talk about those things. If you have questions, I can answer those too. So I'm giving this information as a general information, okay? But please be proactive and look into it. Ask your doctors about the options. There are other things you can do if you're not a candidate for hormone replacement. Diet and lifestyle. This diet is going to come up to you in every subject about health. You can't get around it. Diet is very important, okay? Activity, exercise is very important, okay? So, especially estrogen replacement and diet and lifestyle, there you have. You're not gonna age fast with this formula, okay? So diet plays a huge part in compensating for the loss of estrogen, okay? Plant sterols, I mentioned last week. Plant sterols, those are phytoestrogens inside the plants. So it's like estrogen, okay? So these bioidentical hormones are derived from plants too. You see, like we have bioidentical, the same molecule like in the plants, okay? So more fiber, okay? More fiber, low fat. Reduce animal fat. Don't clog your arteries, don't clog your brain, okay? Okay, so this way you're going to reduce the cholesterol, risk of cholesterol, reduce the heart attack risk, reduce the blood pressure, diabetes, okay? You don't want to rely on medications, okay? These are diet-related diseases. Okay, so Alzheimer and osteoporosis, as I said, you know, diet and exercise, even diet by itself may help with just, you know, preventing heart attack. But how about osteoporosis and Alzheimer's? Okay, so it may help, but diet by itself is not going to help with just, you know, Alzheimer's and osteoporosis, okay? It's not enough. So exercise is very important. We can prevent all these three diseases with exercise too, okay? Exercise gets into play for Alzheimer's as well. I mentioned to you last week, the larger your calf size is, larger your brain matter is, okay? So it's been studied, okay? So muscle mass prevents Alzheimer's. Okay, so there are medications for heart and, you know, osteoporosis, even though they don't work, but there is no medications for Alzheimer. It's just like does not work. They are trying to slow it down, but Alzheimer medications don't work. Okay. So how about hormone treatment? Okay. Estrogen. If we're deficient in estrogen, it means that we need estrogen, right? So doctors, as I told you, won't offer unless they do the surgery on you, and then you need to do your own search. Okay. So some women don't want to take it. They are still under the influence of Women Health Initiative study that was abruptly stopped in 2002. So, but remember, from those days to like 25 years later, you know, there are better hormone replacement treatments, and that hormone replacement with that in that study was done with only birth control pills. For postmenopause is too high, okay, and they were synthetic, so it should not be compared, in my opinion. So when a woman worry about breast cancer, doctors as well. So still, you know, it's not for everybody, we know that, but we should not go by that study. So 1 in 29 women get breast cancer, okay, but I told you 1 in 2 women, half of us, die because of heart attack. Okay, so you make the comparison yourself. Okay, so think about it. If men had this kind of problems, sudden decline in their testosterone, they would just replacement right away. Okay, and doctors would give them right away. Okay, we women, we just like tough it up. So we shouldn't. This is your human rights. Okay, you have to look into it. Even if you're not a candidate, you have to do your own search. Okay, so if you want to take estrogen replacement, there is a window of opportunity. I mentioned yesterday, I mentioned in my announcement too, there is this golden window of opportunity for estrogen replacement, okay, hormone replacement. So there is even a book about that. Dr. Maish Saibal wrote the book. It says estrogen window. If you're into it, you can read it. But there's a lot of resources on YouTube and everywhere too. So it's estrogen is the magic hormone for your brain. Okay, timing is important. Like, you know, I mentioned about the bone loss in the first 5 years, right? And Lisa Mosconi's study, like 8 years, you know, have like the brain size declined in just 8 years. So there is this golden window. Okay, so estrogen is fountain of youth. If we don't have it, we're aging from inside and outside. Your brain is shrinking, Alzheimer's starting. Loss of estrogen is a huge trigger. Okay, we get more Alzheimer than men. We already talked about that. Okay, so the window is important. We should start thinking hormone replacement before we lose the hormone. Okay, like the first 2 years, if you did not have periods, if you did not have that estrogen enough in your body, 2 years, that's very detrimental. Okay, it's very important to start talking about that when you start having the symptoms. Okay, so we don't want brain tissue shrinking and then starting the hormone replacement treatment. Okay, we just need to bridge the gap as soon as possible. Okay, otherwise your brain may not improve. No matter your age, estrogen deficiency start with like brain fog. Estrogen loss causes brain fog. Okay, brain loss. So window of opportunity, as I said, prevents this life-threatening disease 5 to 19 years is the peak. Okay, it needs to be initiated before, like, you know, before these 5 years. Even 2 years no estrogen makes big difference. Okay, so people started thinking that, especially after COVID, oh, brain fog is normal. Not normal. Okay, so forgetfulness is not normal. Okay, start thinking about searching this and making the conversation with your doctor, okay? So there are estrogen receptors in brain, and if you don't have enough estrogen going into your brain, it means that your brain is going to shrink. Those receptors, sites, empty. You need to have estrogen there, but empty, what's going to happen? Brain is going to start shriveling. Okay, estrogen doses are important too. Do your research, talk to your doctor about it, not for only to prevent vaginal or urinary symptoms, okay? So you need to have good minimal dose for the prevention of Alzheimer's, basically, okay? So by doing the estrogen replacement treatment, hormone replacement treatment, you can prevent the other symptoms too. Like, everybody's complaining about belly, midsection weight gain, right? With the hormone replacement, you can prevent that too. That white adipose tissue that goes into your organs, you don't want that, okay? So you see, longevity, preventing metabolic diseases, that's going to help too, okay? Not only vaginal symptoms and hot flashes, right? Joint stiffness, all those aches and pains, they are gonna go away. You will have better, more elastic skin, collagen production will be there, your hair will be better, okay? So, okay, think about that. Don't miss the window, okay? If you have uterus, doctors give you progesterone as well, okay? So let's summarize 3 big diseases. We want to prevent these as soon as possible, okay? So that is not option. This is a must. Yes, not everybody can take it, but every woman have to think about this, okay? Things are better right now, better hormones, bioidentical, okay? Please be proactive, do your search and make the conversation with your doctor, okay? Estrogen is fountain of youth. Who doesn't want to stay young for long years, even like 80s, 90s? Who doesn't want? Okay, please. Who wants plugs in their arteries? Okay? So we don't want to live our second part of our life in misery. Okay? We don't want to deal with diseases. We don't want to burden our kids so that they can take care of ourselves. No, okay? So we have to be proactive. This is human rights, this is woman rights, okay? You're going to ask this, okay? If you don't ask, nobody's going to offer this to you, okay? Even in the ERs, women get 16 minutes later. Women get care 16 minutes later than men, okay? So you see, we don't get proper care. Men get seen sooner, 60 minutes sooner than women in even ER setting, okay? So you have to be advocate, you have to be doctor of yourself, you have to be advocate of yourself, okay? So educate yourself, take charge, okay? There is advancement in science and medicine. Talk to your doctor. Let's see if you can get you start on hormone replacement treatment. So next week, I'm talking about in more detail about hormone replacement treatment. I'm going to answer the questions. I'm going to do Q&A. A lot of people are writing to me. So next week will be about the methods of hormone replacement treatment, and I will answer questions. You can drop your questions. So I'll see you next week, okay? Good luck with the calorie counting. I'm expecting amazing result. Okay, bye.